going.
Hello, welcome back, everyone. It's been almost 2 weeks since we played last, so let's dive right in, shall we?
Mhm.
So, just as a quick refresher for those of you who might need it, you were successful in helping Ver find a home, open up a rift to the elemental plane or place of fire, and his big brothers, as he called them. Um, were able to go back home. Uh, with great thanks and a promise to repay and be a lifelong ally to you, Ver left, and Morin was about to open up a portal for you guys to get back home when she went off the map, so to speak, and opened up a strange alien realm in which strange insect-like beings, humanoids, flew out and attacked you. They were later identified by everyone's favorite NPC, Lee, as Zytekix. And after defeating them, the rift had closed. Morin requires at least some sleep or some rest, some meditation, whatever the hell she does, in order to replenish her mystical reserves, in order to make another attempt. There was debates whether going the long way, which is a week's journey down south, or to try again in the morning, with a new tactic and with being forewarned that this might happen again. So, from when we left off, you guys are just kind of passing the night. I am willing to kind of speed ahead until the next morning. However, there are a few NPC initiated scenes that I'd like to do that would encompass both the evening and the night. So, how about I just open things up to you guys at first and see if there's anything that you guys pressing would like to do or would like to role play.
Uh,
Um,
no, I think I covered what I wanted to do
Okay.
last session.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. All right. Then I'll just go C by C. I'll just do NPC initiated stuff then. So, um, when we last left off, Lee was up at the up in the stone there at the north, just sitting down, collecting his belongings, putting them back inside his pack, unable to get a light for his cigarette, since he seemed to have lost his lighter, or maybe he hawked it somewhere down the way. But uh, Patrick, if you ever look towards Lee, he'll lock eyes with you and gesture you over to where he is sitting.
Let's see. Um, Walk to the north. Yes, I think I would eventually
Mhm,
get up from sitting next to Morin and looking out
mhm,
and just kind of
mhm.
inspecting the whatever. I think it's the night sky. Is this more of like a
It's not
twilight?
evening yet. I say around this time the sun would be starting to set. It
Right.
would be a very vibrant orange glow that lays across the landscape and across the dead insectoid bodies that litter the ground.
All right. I would most likely eventually get up and walk around and probably observe the area to a point where I would see him.
Okay, great. So he gestures you over. It's not a hurried one. It's just kind of a friendly, hey, come over here for a second type of gesture.
All right. As ever trusting, will approach
Okay.
inquisitively.
Okay. He bets a smooth section of the rock beside him for you to sit down, and he kind of gives a bit of a half smile and says, "Hey, that the stuff that you gave me when I knew Laszlo, that moonshine, you wouldn't happen to have any more of that, would you?"
No, sadly, that was the only one. That's the only amount I actually had, even here or back at the home. I would say.
Okay. Well, fair enough. I was just asking, is all. Listen, can I ask you a pretty blunt question?
Sure.
Okay. What's up with your friends, huh? I'm getting hot and cold off of them. On one hand, they want my help. They want to pay me. They let me into their place to rest. And on the other hand, they're throwing my shit off a cliff and being incredibly rude. Like, what's up with them? You're the only one who's been consistently decent to me.
Oh, I really can't speak for everyone else. Um, they might be going through some hard things. Um, hmm.
Oh yeah,
And
like what? Hmm.
Patrick will actually sit there and almost be like really deep in thought, like trying to figure out exactly what events might actually be. Um,
Okay. You wouldn't have a lighter on you, would you?
later. I have technically a light, but I think you're more,
Oh, like
yeah,
you can make fire?
fire, not so much.
Oh,
Let's see. Why don't I have a flint and tinder? Oh, well.
okay. Or even a lighter itself. That's fine. You normally don't need. Okay, no, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
And Lee just says, "Oh, that's fine. I was just asking, you know." All right, no, I was just wondering if you don't know what's up with them. That's fine. I'll just deal with it. You know,
They're
I've
they're
had to deal
generally
with
good
worse.
people.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take your word for it. You've been with them longer than I have. Just, I'm gonna be honest with you. Even though the woman in the wheelchair is a bit of a bitch, I'm really worried about the other girl in your group, the one who's down off to the south. She doesn't look very um, stable, if you know what I mean. She flies off the handle pretty quick.
Patrick's gonna frown at the bitch comment, but
Hmm. But
uh,
he gives an apology. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm still just a little hot from her throwing you know, my belongings. I'm sure she wouldn't like it if I did that. Is all. Sorry. I didn't mean to insult your friends.
that's okay. It's heat of the moment, of course.
Okay. That's fine.
Uh, uh, um, I haven't really seen her. I don't think she's gonna throw it over any other of your things.
Okay.
The other lady. I'm not quite sure about the lady in the wheelchair. I just met her.
Gotcha. Well, tell you what. When or if we get back to New Laszlo, how about you and I have a drink sometime? All right.
Oh, almost the only reason I had the moonshine was I helped another person win it. I don't actually drink myself. Sorry enough to. I can grab some other drink that's non-alcoholic and I can
All
hand.
right. Tell you what. I'll do the drinking for both of us. How about that sound? And you can just keep me company.
No problem.
All right. Fair enough. All right. So unless you have anything else you want to broach the conversation itself would just naturally end. Unless you have something you want to bring up.
Um, my character is most likely going to keep searching around his belongings and pull out
Mhm.
a large flashlight and like
Okay.
I never use this, and he's going to smash the glass part on the uh, rock.
Oh. Okay. And Lee kind of gives a bit of a start and asks, "What are you doing?"
What was the thing that you wanted lit?
Oh, just and he picks up a broken cigarette butt on the ground there. He picks it up. I just wanted to smoke. If you can't have a drink, might as well have a smoke, right?
I wouldn't know, but he was going to take the butt,
Mm-hmm.
stick it in the large flashlight, and use the coils as a heating source and light.
Ah, clever. All right. Lee kind of leans over and puffs on the filter a little bit, and with the light from the coil, it's enough to generate enough heat for him to get the cigarette lit. It takes a little while. It's a little awkward, but it works. And he goes, "It's a shame you don't drink. I would have, I would have given you so much booze you wouldn't even know who you were when you woke up. But thanks a lot, Patrick. He says.
Well, besides a flashlight, not a problem.
Fair enough. All right. So that little scene is done with. Now, as far as dinner goes, would you guys all would you just break camp, kind of just get together, just have a meal together, or would you have reasons to go off on your own or eat alone?
I think Nora would be in her own little space away from the group.
Okay. Oh, okay. So no dinner time for Nora?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. How about the rest of you?
I think that Al
I-
would
I-
probably try and bring her food, but not in a sense of I'm going to eat with you. More like I want to give you your
Here's
space,
food.
but here's food. Yeah, like I want to make sure you eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only Lee kind of stays off on his own as far as dinner time goes, and Morin doesn't look like she's much like Nora. She's just off on her own, not even making moves to join you. So
Then
just to keep that in mind too.
I will play waiter
Okay.
and bring food to everyone, and I will, for everyone, universally, I will try to be pleasant,
Okay. So even to Lee.
even to Lee.
Okay. All right. Morin doesn't really respond. She mutters something about true knowledge doesn't have a stomach to feed on. And that's about it for her. Mm.
Everyone's like, I don't
Look at
even know,
me.
guys. I'm just the messenger.
Lady's creepy.
Don't look at me. That's what she says. I'll do Nora last, so you guys can maybe have a little role play opportunity, if you wish. But Lee looks. He's finishing up his cigarette at this point, and you approach him, and he kind of looks suspiciously over at the food that's in your hands. And he's not the one. He just kind of looks at you. He's not the one to broach the conversation just yet.
It's Al would look kind of raise an eyebrow and say, "I'm not in the habit of poisoning people, not even the ones I don't like. Not that that came out bad."
Yeah, Lee kind of gives a smirk and be like, I wasn't thinking about poison, but now I am. But I get your point.
With that, oh god, I think Al would hand him the food and sit down and say, "I know things can be difficult with this group."
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think if he would say something else. And then he would say, "They're not that bad. You just left a very bad impression, and they're not the kind of group that takes first impressions lightly."
He kind of said,
Hello?
when I was younger, and I guess I never really shook that. Let's just say I haven't worked with people in a while, so sometimes I forget how it's like. So I get what you mean.
Maybe a observation, not a judgment, but an observation.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine what you've seen and what you've been through and what that does to a person. But you don't seem like you give much of a damn about yourself. And because of that, you certainly don't give a damn about much of anyone else. And because of that, it can be really, really hard for anyone to give a damn about you. I'm not a guy that should be pointing fingers or casting stones. But and just kind of leaves it at that, shrugs his shoulders. And he looks very just honest.
Yeah, fair enough. Lee shrugs and he goes, "You're not wrong." But that's about it.
And I guess I would say, eat up.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, he'll take the food, and he'll probably actually meander to join the rest of the group hesitantly. the outreaching, the olive branches, so to speak, has definitely cooled the situation well, where tempers are not bubbling anymore. All right, how about Nora? Mila/Nora.
I think Al would pause a little bit before he gets close and try and think of how to play the situation, and then kind of stand up straight, put on a smile, and then walk up loudly enough that she can hear and very cheerfully. Well, the filet mignon's a little undercooked, but I think the potatoes...
Nora throws the gun up in the air and jumps back 5 feet.
Can I try and catch the gun?
Yeah, give me roll a d20. If you get over a 10, you catch the gun. I'm making it a half. Okay. Nope, you miss it.
Okay.
It hits the ground with a clatter.
Sorry.
He will unceremoniously pick up the gun. I'm
hi,
sorry.
what?
I didn't mean to scare you.
No, you didn't. Nora looks down. You didn't scare me.
The gun in question is a 6-shot revolver.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I thought my computer was possessed. My cat was just moving my mouse. I was like, my mouse is moving. I'm not touching it. All right,
Anywho,
yes.
back on track.
Sorry. It's fine. I just thought I'd bring you some food. Don't want you to starve out here.
Thanks. She'll grab the food and the gun, hide behind a rock.
Hide behind a rock. Nora,
Hmm.
how long are you going to shut us all out?
I'm not shutting anyone out.
I look very pointedly at Nora, and then the rest of the group very far away.
I'm just focusing right now, okay, Al? It's nothing serious.
Al will nod and say, "You need space. I'll give you all the space you want. Just remember, you were on your own a long time. I was on my own a long time too. That is not the best way to live."
Hmm.
And with that, he'll just go back to the group.
Okie dokie. So, next thing I had in mind was Lee actually does approach the group himself. He picks off the butt that he flicked towards Tom from the ground as he moves over there. He kind of picks it up, and he heads over to Patrick, and he asks if he has his flashlight handy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great.
He will actually just hand him the giant broken flashlight.
Okay, seeing how you manipulated it before, he catches on easy enough, and he lights his own cigarette, passes the broken flashlight back to you. He already ate half of his meal, and he sits down on the ground there, and he's silent for a while, and he's just eating. He's just kind of looking carefully at everyone. And after the thick silence kind of hangs in the air for a little bit, his eyes wander over towards Morin, who was still sitting cross-legged at the cliff edge by the ley line nexus. And he says, "She wasn't always like that, you know."
Al would, after finishing his food, kind of lean back on an elbow to get comfortable. What happened to her?
Well, probably the worst thing that can happen to a shifter, I reckon. Although I'm sure death is a close second. I don't know for sure. I wasn't around. But, you know, you hear rumors, especially when it comes to someone as spacey as her. Apparently, 15 years ago, when she was not but a teenager, she was pretty talented when it came to understanding ley lines. And she went off and she explored on her own. And she was a bubbly, happy girl, very sharp, almost too sharp, too intelligent. She was able to read people really well, or so I heard. But about 5 years ago, she emerged again. And she looked like she aged 10 years in those 5. And she is just like that. Like someone scooped her personality right out of her head. And Anyone who's been trying to figure out why has gotten no answers from her. In fact, he pauses for a moment. This is the most social he's ever been. One of the psychics at Myrna's House of Healing kind of broke protocol, I guess you could say, and decided to delve deep into her mind to kind of answer some questions. And he went stark raving mad. About 6 months later, he hung himself. So the most anyone's gotten is that it's some giant eye. And that's it. He kind of gives a shrug. You were saying before, Al, about some of the shit I've seen? I could tell you stories that would turn you pale. But what happened to her, no one comes back from. So you understand why I'm a little skittish when it comes to putting her in control of our fates.
Al will lean back against the rocks with a sigh and say, I've heard so many stories that'll turn me pale, and this day has been one of them. Lee, you've probably seen a lot. Tell us a better story. A funny story. What is the funniest thing you've ever seen traveling through a rift?
Funniest thing? Huh. Well, I've seen wonderful things. I've seen strange things. And of course, you know all about the horrible things, but not everyone asks me about the funny things. But, like any good storyteller, I don't typically do things for free. You wouldn't happen to have anything to wet the old whistle, would you?
Hang on, I'm thinking. Unfortunately, Lee, I don't drink. No.
And he pauses for a moment. You don't drink. Patrick doesn't drink. Does anyone? Well, of course, I know she drinks, and he points over to Pam, in which Pam lowers her eyes and gives a bit of a scoff. I know she drinks because she drank his flask, right? And but I guess this is an entirely sober group, huh?
There are
For the
some
most part.
times when drinking helps you forget things, and there's some people where drinking just makes you remember them more. I tend to
Oh.
be the second.
And I am definitely the first. But you didn't want to hear about that. You wanted to hear a funny story. Well, tell you what, since you don't have anything on you, how about when we get to New Laszlo, you throw in a few extra credits my way so I can wet my whistle proactively. How's that sound? Or
You make me
posthumously.
laugh, and it's a deal.
I make you laugh. Oh boy. And at this point, the DM is like, oh shit. Well, if he makes you laugh, he'll make you laugh. Okay. All right. I got a story for you. I was 23 at the time, I think. 23 or 24. Sometimes traveling through interdimensional space, you kind of forget years and months and ages, but I'm pretty sure I was 23 at this point. And I hear rumors of a dimension where gems themselves, precious gems like rubies and emeralds and sapphires, the whole shebang, they are as common as rocks on the earth. And that many an individual has gone there and snatched up handfuls of this stuff and returned and become rich as kings. And being a young fellow such as I am, such rumors sounded awfully interesting. So I follow a few rumors, ask around, test out a few different places, when, sure enough, I do come across one hell of a place. Its sky is bright gold. The atmosphere is very, very strange. And the earth is this reddy, ruddy rock. But upon it scatters tons of sapphires, of rubies, these red gems as big as your fist and sometimes bigger. So, sure enough, I start getting excited, and I start picking these things up and putting them in my pack. But it's strange because every time I pick up a gem, I hear a strange noise that seems to be coming from the ground. It was coming from somewhere, and it was like a ooh. And then I pick up another one, it'd be a and I'd pick up another one and be like, And that last one made me really, really cautious. Because it's not every day that when you pick up a stone, something moans. And especially in that way, if you know what I mean. But, I mean, gems are gems, so I start picking them up. I put them in my pack, and I decide to wander the place a little bit longer. And sure enough, I feel something wet along the side of my leg. And I find out, I look down, and it's my pack, and it's dripping wet. And I reach in to see what's going on. I pull out a gem, and it's covered in this strange white mucus. And I have no idea what's going on, but it's just absolutely disgusting. I have no idea how to clean it off. It sticks all over me. And I just kind of want to get out of there. I want to get these things cleaned up. There was no water where I was. It was kind of barren in a strange way. No rivers, no peaks, no valleys. Just a very flat plain. So I find the ley line and I get myself over to, a fellow I know, one of the ones who told me the first rumors where I could sell these gems at. So I show up at his place with a bag filled with wet, goopy gems, and he bursts out laughing. And he explains to me that they're not really jewels. They're sex organs. What it was is that I didn't land on a world. I landed in the groin of a giant beast. And I was picking up these gems, but they were really just a way for it to reproduce. I was carrying around a giant pack of jizz. Pretty much. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Shit.
I never pictured you as a family man.
Well, I'm just lucky they didn't impregnate me. They reproduce in another way. There you go. There's one laugh. I don't mind that.
Tom's cracking up at Al's remark.
I'm laughing
Take
at Lee.
credit. Yeah. All right. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
he can take credit. It's fine.
Yeah.
He's still
All right.
cracking up.
Here goes. It's not a story you tell, the family-oriented crowd, but I figured we needed a little bit of lightening out. So there you go.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, kids got to learn about the birds and the bees some way.
Yeah, or also learn not to pick up strange gems, I guess, eh?
Definitely teach kids not to pick things up and put them in their mouth.
Oh, Jesus, and then Lee starts laughing. So, all right. So, with a few chuckles or whatnot, once again, I'll open the same thing. If you have any questions for Lee, if not, we can just let it die down, and you folks can rest for the night.
I would, after that story, I want to talk to Maureen if she's still awake.
Oh, who? Sorry, Morin?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Sorry, around what time? Like after dinner?
Yeah, after after everything starts dying down.
Yep, she is. Things start dying down, and she is still just staring out. The sun has almost completely set, and you can see the bright blue glow of the ley line shimmering in front of her, and that glow, covers or it reflects off her face and her armor, and she sits there cross-eyed, staring into it.
I'd sit down next to her and
Okay.
then say, Lee told me some of what you've been through.
You look at her, and for a while it doesn't look like she responds. But after an uncomfortable pause, you see a small nod from her helmet.
I know that there have probably been people that have tried to help you get back to the way you were. But I'm willing to bet no one's ever actually asked you, are you who you want to be? Do you need help?
After another uncomfortable pause, her light, dreamy tone replies with, "If an ant can transform into the sun, does it require help? I am what I am supposed to be."
Al would think about that for a long time
Hmm.
and then ask, what happens when the sun just wants to be an ant again?
She shrugs just very slightly with her shoulders. And she says, "Time does not go backwards. Time only goes forwards. I do not think like an ant does anymore. I think as a sun. I see. I know. Why would one not want to know?"
Are you happy?
Happiness doesn't matter. Knowledge only matters.
Oh, my friend. Happiness always matters. What good is knowledge if it doesn't bring joy?
She looks at you. This is the first time she breaks her sight of the ley line and actually turns to you and simply says, "Those are the thoughts of an ant." And she looks back out to the ley line.
All right. Al would put a hand on her shoulder and squeeze it and then leave her be.
Okay.